That's right. It's time for the weekly movie recommendations for Mick's Movie Picks.
Oh, you guys are coming back in a second. Don't worry. But to get through this real quick, guys, of course, on the Scene Snobs, we have content every day. We love for you to be a part of it. Subscribe to the channel. Give us likes and comments. It really means a lot to us. And I love your stories about when you watch these movies and the impact they had on you. Please keep going. I love those comments. Thank you so much. And help us get up there. I'm trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. So if you can help us get there, I appreciate you. But we have a lot of new reviews, as you guys can see. Rental Family, 28 years later, The Bone Temple, The Rip, and Night Patrol. All fun, all good movies. I think go check them out. We do full reviews. I get in more in depth with them. And then on Monday, Discovering Horror is all new and covering Friday the 13th from 1980, the original. And then, of course, our Patreon picks from Bronson Wright Wolf. We thank him so much for giving us these. Does It Suck next Tuesday is going to be Cheaper by the Dozen 2. Today, Cheaper by the Dozen 1 classic film review came out. You can check that out. And then classic film review next Friday is going to be School of Rock. Great movies, and I love them.
Great choices.
Thank you. Well, those are Bronson Wright Wolf. He picked them out, and he crushed. Got some good ones coming up. But now tomorrow night on Popcorn and Pints, we are going to be reviewing Dunkirk and The Prestige. You can watch it on the Popcorn and Pints channel or over here. And I can't wait to talk about these movies. We're on our Nolan kick. We're going to be watching Nolan movies once a month until we catch up on the Odyssey, and super stoked for that. And then next week we'll be getting into our King-tastic voyage again with The Shining, Dr. Sleep, and Shining from 1996. So spit some bars for me, Case. This is where it gets serious.
It's time for film definitions with Mick.
All right, this is I'm gonna make you guys, we're gonna get back on here a little bit, but this is going to be a little bit of a different format. I'm not using the book tonight. I actually wrote a script because I'm trying to. Paul wanted to know more about practical effects. He wants to know more about post work and stuff like that. We're going to be covering all of it, but I thought I would break it up into sections. And I'm really excited for this one because it's practical effects, just sort of a look behind the curtain, a little bit of practical effects between the silent era into the 1930s. So let me get my script ready because God knows this is all new format for me, ladies and gentlemen, but this will be available to watch. If you're listening, you'll be able to watch it because I will have visual components, but I will talk us through it. And I might say that again in my speech, so don't get mad at me.
It is now time for everyone to get smarter with film definitions with Mick. That's I think that there we go. That's the sound.
I like it, but I don't know that it's true. But I'm going to do my best. So if you guys will bear with me for a second, I got some videos to show you, and I think we're going to have some fun. So let's kick it off. And here we go. So firstly, I want to begin. I feel that we should talk and mention at least Technicolor, which was invented in 1917 as a two-stripe system until the three-stripe system was introduced in 1932. The handful of films used Technicolor, predominantly animated films, Snow White from 1932 being the most famous, and then almost perfected movies like Gone with the Wind and The Wizard of Oz, which still test of times, in my opinion. The first ever to use the three-stripe method was Becky Sharp from 1935. Now, I mentioned Technicolor because the special and practical effects that I want to cover tonight are predominantly, like I said, the silent films and the 30s. Black and white format of that time played a pivotal part in making these effects possible. It really worked with the makeup and such. And we do have a video we made on the three-stripe Technicolor format. You can check it out on our film history playlist on the channel. A good example of this is the witch transformation scene in the comedy mystery film The Octopus from 1937. The makeup was done in such a way that the effect could be achieved with a simple filter changed from a blue to a red. In the color, this effect couldn't work until a VFX component was invented later on. Effects, but also we have to remember effects don't just involve makeup effects. Stunts were built in early film around practical effects. The safer the filmmakers tried to make a death-defying stunt look as possible, the more innovation to special effects was applied. Of course, horror has always been a genre that used innovative ways to create practical effects, even to this day. In 1922, when Nosferatu was made, the terrifying effects in the film were a standout. That was a big portion of why people love that movie. It was an element of their time. One of the most famous examples is the Orlok coffin scene, where he rises up straight. This was achieved with a seesaw type rig that was cheap, effective, and helped one of the most memorable scenes in movie history for sure. And it is a fantastic one. Another area today that isn't considered in practical effects, like I said, in the innovation world, is stunt work. And I want to get into that a little bit more on this one. I put together some of the examples of practical effects and stunts with clips. And like I said, if you are watching, you'll get to see them, and I'll explain them for our listeners on Film Definitions. But the clip will be up next week if you guys want to watch that and not watch the video version of the podcast after listening to it. We'd appreciate a subscribe to the channel, though, if you would like to. We appreciate that. But I do encourage all of you to check out all of these films. I will have them listed down below in the descriptions, and I do think you should check them out. Firstly, I'd like to shine a light at one of the best filmmakers for practical effects and stunt work. That's Buster Keaton, who has some of the most amazing stunts in the history of film. A good one to check out is The General from 1926. The first scene I'm playing is from that film, and it's important to note that Buster Keaton was very much the Jackie Chan of his day with stunts. He broke everything in the name of practical effects innovation for the film, for all films, really. In this scene, he plays a train conductor who needs to clear the tracks by himself using the props he has on hand. All of his stunts are real in the scene, and jumping off and on the train and using the railroad ties. It was fascinating. And the next effect, the 10 Commandments, DeMille, built a channel constructed out of gelatin, colored to look like water, and flooded, and then reversed the footage to make the parting of the Red Sea. And in the Black Pirate, they used a pulley system. Wrong one. For Douglas Fairbanks' stunt effect, where he uses the sword to ride down the sail. Really, he stabbed a light-weighted part of the dolly and was lowered down by a counterweight and sped it in editing. And now both comedians, Harold Lloyd and Charlie Chaplin, both very well known and have immensely famous scenes that used artist hands and careful camera placement. And they did this in a lot of their movies, but two famous matters of it that look very dangerous, like in Safety Last, Harold Lloyd famously hangs from a building clock high above the streets, seemingly ready to fall to his death at any moment. The scene is filmed high above the streets with cars whizzing by down below on a rooftop. And in reality, some of the tricky camera placement, you can't see. He is only about 15 feet above, and there's of the roof, and below him safely with cushions to boot. And in modern times, in 1936, Chaplin rode roller skates blind in the upstairs of a department store, unknowingly with the ledge he is coming dangerously close to. The scene thrills the audience, who fears for his safety, but an artist's beautiful matte painting and clever camera placement covers the fact that he is safely on the ground and no longer in danger at all. I love that aspect of that film. And the practical effects of the silent era ushered in a new era of brilliance in a brand new industry. For a decade since, we've made effects a cornerstone of filmmaking. And that, I hope you guys like this format to Film Definitions. If you want me to continue it on, if you have any questions about any of these effects or any other filmmaking you want me to cover, let me know in the comments. I'd love to do it for you. And also, because I am reading this on a teleprompter, fuck you, San Diego, but I love you.
Woo! Ron, I have to fire you.
Oh no! No more Film Definitions with Nick.
Yeah, that was fantastic, bro. I just want to come right out the gate. That was delightful. It's fun because I knew half of that, and then the other half I learned. I didn't know that about Chaplin. What a great way to create that effect. So yeah, really genius, and ingenuity never dies, guys. So I think that's something that we can all learn and carry on for all of us. Anyone with the wherewithal to do it and thinking outside the box, believe me, that's a huge box, and you got plenty of space outside of it. So think away. That was wonderful. I'm excited to see what we come up with next.
Awesome. Thank you. And Paul, is there anything? I'm going to continue on with special effects, and I'm going to try and cover everything as we go on. But is there anything maybe for next week you'd like me to kind of zero in on and maybe look at? Any aspects of filmmaking you want to know more about?
Yes, maybe a little bit more of just the editing process. I found that very fascinating in film school. Just them talking about clipping it and everything like that. The different.
Oh, do you want me to show you how to do it, or do you want me to explain like the history and like what goes into it? And
I kind of like
ways it's used.
I like the history because to me that helps explain present times and makes everything else make more sense to me. Just knowing the past.
Well, you said editing, so I'm excited.
It's nice.
For sure.
Film definitions and how we got here, which I think is such a wonderful thing to see that evolution. So awesome job, man. That's rad. Well done.
Appreciate it. I was a little nervous because I'm like, I think I may be able to pull this off. I'm not that smart. But I wrote the script and this morning, and like I was so into all the research I was doing. So like I'm excited to get onto an editing portion.
Nice.
And talk about that. But I will come back with visual effects in different time periods and stuff. So that'll be coming. So make sure you guys check that out. But guys, do you have anything you want to say before we get going?